Hello everybody, this is TVHUBofficial1 and we are here. If you read the title of this video, you probably figured out by now that this is a podcast that I'm doing. I've heard a lot of people who are doing these podcasts, this podcast thing I guess, and I decided to tag along. So, if you don't already know, this is a podcast for, what day is today? Whatever, it's Thursday today currently. It's 8:39 GMT PM where I'm living, and I decided to do these podcast things. So we're gonna see how it goes down. It's gonna be uncut, about whatever I want, uncensored. Give my opinion on whatever the heck I want to talk about. I've got this cool little background here. Obviously, we've got the Grand Canyon, and as you can tell probably from my voice, I'm pretty excited to do this. I've wanted to do this for a while now. And now that I have this YouTube channel and this nice microphone to record on, that I've actually had it for a long time, this nice editing software, I've decided to go ahead with this. So this is, hopefully I won't actually make any cuts. Like I usually do my normal videos. If you've watched any of them, well, this is just a little promotion. Go ahead and watch one of them. Come on. I've got great series videos, no bragging or anything. But anyway, if you go watch my other videos, you'll see that I cut through them. I make lots of different cuts, and they take quite a while to record. And I thought, well, this is sort of my thought process. Well, if they take so long to record or anything, say one video taking half an hour to edit and all the snapshots, actually it doesn't take that long. But in recent times with my videos, they're only being like 7 minutes long, and this is going to be like an hour long or whatever, 40 minutes. I decided, well, if I do it all in one cut, it'll take me it might take a long time to upload, but it's not going to take that long for me to edit, because I just put in a few snaps here and there, and you got it done. And hopefully you'll be entertained by my voice and just not click off anyway. Or you can skip through bits to hear down about different news stories, I guess. I guess you can do that as well, if you want to. Sorry, just taking a drink from the swell up there. The National Creek, as they call it. Not the National Creek. That's just my water from my house. Anyway, yeah, that's something I want to talk about. The water charges in my Ireland, if you've heard about it. A lot of people are angry at this, and I'm indifferent, basically. Well, my family think that it's fine. I've heard a lot of stuff against the water charges, which are going to be implied next January when... we've already got our meters in, but the proper bills that are using your... the basic idea is that they want to charge you on how much you use, and they want to sort of cut back and get money into the government because they need it. And a lot of people are arguing that there's way too much taxes that they're already putting on it, how we shouldn't be charged for water, but there's a good reasoning for it, is that they don't want people to overuse on water. Because it's quite expensive to process in the way that they do it. You know, the way, if you heard about any of this, or if I'm just if you're totally lost, I'm gonna move on soon. But anyway, the way that they do it is that they have to clean it out, they have to put chemicals in it, and I guess they're just trying to get a lot of money into the government, and finding a way to do that is this way, and that suits me fine. I don't know much about it, but that's on the business side of things. So there, I'm drinking water, fresh from the tap. So that's it. Yeah, water. Post your comments below if you're living in Ireland about what you think, and how do you think, should we be paid with this much for water? Now, should we be paying this much for water, and are you going to be buying bottled water or something now? Whatever. And whatever country you live in, how much do you pay for water? I'm sure if you live in Europe, you probably pay for water. I'm not sure about anywhere else in the world, but I've heard that you pay for water in other countries, and about time we pay, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, so that's just a news story that's been going around. Other news stories. Oh yes, I've heard about one. I saw it on my feed on YouTube. I watched a video. I think it's IO Productions. If you heard of that, go check it up. Search it on YouTube. they upload videos, and one of them was about a Discovery Channel, basically a Discovery Channel, how should I describe this, a special. You know the way they do the special on the Discovery Channel, if you watch it, it's sort of like a National Geographic type one, where they're going to do like this explorer guy, famous guy, whoever he is, he's sort of a daredevil, and he's going to try and get inside the snake and try and get the snake to eat him alive. And he's going to have this big suit that he's made, and there's going to be a whole crew with their, obviously watching out for what happens, safety team, cameras, and it's going to be a documentary on the Discovery Channel. And basically, what was sorry, it's going to be a documentary, and it sort of got done, and they posted that we've done with it. We tried it out, and we're going to wait until the documentary to see what happens. And the Discovery Channel documentary aired this week or last week, I think. And so it aired, and if it turns out that this guy got inside, had his head stuck with the full bodysuit that actually worked, and he was in a lot of trouble. Well, he wasn't really, but he wanted to get out then and there. I don't know the full story behind it, so you can go check up on the Discovery Channel. Snake guy gets inside snake. He wants to be eaten alive. So the snake actually did go for him. He covered himself in rat's blood, and he ended up getting out somehow. A lot of animal rights activists were complaining and protesting against what happened, and basically everyone else who watched this documentary was copped out, and I think that's a big cop out, and just annoyed about how you've copped us out by showing us a documentary where he's meant to be eaten alive and he's not really. His head gets stuck inside his, we can see a snake do that, but we haven't never seen a snake eat a human. That would just be really interesting, really horribly interesting. It's sort of the weird way. It's the weird kind of interesting. So the weird side of the internet. If you've heard about that, the weird side of the internet. This is stuff you shouldn't check out. Don't check it out. Anyway, so go check out pictures of that. I'm sure it's pretty interesting. I probably won't put pictures on this because I don't really want to edit it. So I'm just gonna put random pictures. It's gonna. I chose. If you don't really know, I chose 3 pictures. I chose one of these random desktop pictures. Another picture with the Red Dwarf cast and TLC, WWE TLC. So there are going to be 3 topics 2 topics I'm talking about, and just all random news stories. Also about my videos, I'm going to be uploading, I think, one announcement video. I think tomorrow I'll do that. But if you want to know about that, I'll just talk to you about that tomorrow in my new announcement video about the Christmas holiday plan. I don't really want to put it in this video because you'll have to skip through to this bit to find it if you don't really watch the videos, because I know these videos don't get a lot of views because it's very long, and so I don't want to bore you to death with all the stuff that's going on in front of this. And it's only my first video, so I don't know what to say too much. Well, I do know how to say it, I just don't know how to put it through, and I don't know how long it's going to take me to do. That rhymed. So yeah, I'll make an announcement video tomorrow maybe, and talk about what I want to talk about, which is the Christmas schedule for that time of year when I've got the holidays for 2 weeks, and I can make a lot of videos, around 2 videos a day. But I'm going to talk about that in another video. Don't want to spoil it too much. If you're actually listening to this, woohoo! You are a podcast viewer. Well done. Make sure to like down below if you haven't already. I know I do that when I go into videos. I just like straight away. But if you haven't already done it before, maybe just watch this video or skip through a bit and listen to whichever bit you like. Say what I need to, if I did well, if I need to improve on anything. I don't know how did these work really well. Remember, this is my first one, okay? Please don't scrutinize me too hard. So favorite, make sure to click that subscribe button down below, and also, also favorite, and what else you do with this video. Comment, as I said earlier, on your opinions on all the news stories that feature in this episode. What was I going to talk about? Oh yes, the other news stories I'm going to feature in this video. Well, you know the way I like shows. It's TVHUBofficial1, of course. I love TV, and I love shows, television, anything on. And Red Dwarf and WWE are two of my favourites sort of genres. And Red Dwarf, I'm going to talk about what I think of the show. Also, Doctor Who, I'm going to talk about Series 8, and I'm also going to post another video on Sunday, which is going to be my Series 8 overview, and that's going to be like an hour long. I know, I've got loads of big videos coming up. That's going to be, I'm going to give a shorthand opinion of that after I talk about next few subjects. And also, WWE TLC pay-per-view is coming out and this Sunday, so I know I didn't do my Survivor Series 1, but I might talk about what I think of that, and TLC predictions, of course. Just to notice, I haven't been watching much of WWE television lately, showing, but I'll try to give as much of a preview as I can. What do I talk about first? How about I talk about Red Dwarf? So, Red Dwarf is a show about, it's a science fiction show, and I watched this first off, and I thought it was pretty amazing. It was a comedy science fiction, and it never really had been done on TV before. It came out in the 80s, and it's still continued to this day. The last series, if you don't know, came out, was Series 10, and it came out back in 2012, and I watched that all live on Dave after they took it off BBC. So that was Series 10. And the article for Season 11, which is apparently confirmed with a filming date, reads, great news for fans of comedy science fiction series Red Dwarf, as an 11th series is a reality. It has been a year and a half since the end of Red Dwarf Series 10, or X, and news of a follow-up has been few and far between, with the last piece of news coming in January, with John Jules said there was a series being written. A big update came during the Sci-Fi Scarborough convention on Saturday, and Red Dwarf panel comprised of Chris Barry, Danny John-Jules and Robert Llewellyn confirmed the news. John-Jules said that shooting is scheduled to get underway in October 2014, which is already passed. This one was, remember this, this article came out in April, with a view to be aired on Dave in autumn 2015. The panel were also asked about their favourite episodes, with Llewellyn and John Jules voicing their jealousy of not being part of Marooned, causing Barry to joke about their absence, is what made it such a strong episode. And if you don't know, that's one of my favourite episodes as well. Llewellyn personally enjoyed shooting lemons because of the variety of smells, citing that cinnamon was much better than the usual smell of wet paint. Questioned about the fan favourite opening to Tongue Tied, John Jules said that he had tremendous fun, that the looks of jealousy from Chris, Charles and Barry were legitimate, as was him being oblivious to them because he was having too much fun doing his routine, but said that they all worked perfectly for the character's personality. Barry laughed at the thought of being able to reenact it, saying that he couldn't even remember his routine on the day. Speaking about the wardrobe and makeup, Llewellyn being thankful that the application of the silicone chitin mask has reduced over time from the original 8 hours to a much shorter 2-hour process, while Barry enjoyed only needing to put on a H on his forehead. John Jules also revealed that he didn't get to keep on any of the cat's outfits, a fact that he was thankful for, asking, could you imagine wearing one of those in the streets? That's sort of not much information there, I guess. I'll go back and see if I can find anything else. So, Series 11 confirmed, coming out in 2015, August 2015, I think. The latest news coming out in April. There's another article from August this year. What does it read? It says that we've heard talks were in progress for another new season, and the writing was in progress. But now, What Culture reports that not only is Season 11 going to become a reality, there are already dates for both production and the premiere. The news came from the cast members at the Scarborough convention. It's hard to believe that it's been 26 years, and I just want to comment on this. I think, what an amazing feat for any show to reach that amount of time and still be as popular as it was when it first aired. Well, not when it first aired. When it got popular, to keep up the popularity for such a long time, for such a distance. If you don't already know, there was the series in 2009, 2012, and the last one came out in 1999. Between 1999 and 2012 and 2009, the popularity remained the same. The people who had been, say, 10 years old when they watched it in 1989, and were then, 25 years older, 35 are still enjoying the show and rewatching every episode like I have, and made reviews on all series 1. Go check them out if you want to on TVHUBofficial1 channel. These same people are staying tuned and hoping for another series of the show. It's just so magnificent in my eyes. And have you really ever heard of such a thing, of this amount of dedication to a show? No, I haven't. So series 11, hopefully that'll come out and next year, and that's going to be one of my favourite things to look forward to next year, and very anticipated for this British show. If you haven't already, go check it out. I would highly recommend it. And yeah, that's the show that's coming out over next year. So hopefully next year. That gives me a good idea to do a 2012 Series X, Series 10 review, which will be fun to do. I can imagine doing that in the future. Yeah, so now I'm going to talk about WWE TLC. TLC is the pay-per-view for the December month. There's WWE kind of divided up into like 13 pay-per-views a year or 12 pay-per-views a year, and I think that, in my opinion, that's way too much pay-per-views. It should be about, I'd say 8 pay-per-views a year would be a good number. You got your 4 major pay-per-views. You got SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and Survivor Series. In fact, Survivor Series just came around, and now here we are with TLC. Last year, I'm pretty sure, TLC was for the unified WWE World Heavyweight and WWE Championships, which was won by Randy Orton against John Cena in a ladder match, I'm pretty sure. So the match card for TLC looks like, well, of course, TLC is Table Ladder Shares, that stands for. Haven't really watched much of the WWE TV lately, so I haven't been knowing too much of what's going around, but I've seen a bit of Survivor Series, and I did a review on Hell in a Cell. It's about 40 minutes long, and you can go check it out on my channel. So the final WWE pay-per-view of 2014 is set to take place on Sunday with Table, Ladders and Chairs. Not only is it the last pay-per-view of the year, but it's also the final pay-per-view before the road to WrestleMania 31 begins. Oh my god, it's already around the corner. It's going to be very exciting. And of course, I'm going to do my Royal Rumble predictions. My favourite pay-per-view of the year, I've got to do the predictions for it. And I'm definitely going to watch it. Definitely the Royal Rumble match in particular. For a third straight pay-per-view, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship won't be defended. Brock Lesnar isn't scheduled to be at the event, though he's expected to appear on Monday Night Raw the following day. That's pretty amazing that Brock Lesnar hasn't defended his title in the last 3 pay-per-views. Third straight. Well, this will be the third pay-per-view he hasn't defended his title. If you want my opinion on Brock Lesnar not defending his title, I think it's alright, but he isn't appearing on TV at all, and that to me seems strange. I'm not sure if he's making those promo things still, but I guess it wouldn't really make much sense. But I think that there isn't much of John Cena either on the show, and they're making room for other talent. Obviously they have some of the other big talent like Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns are all gone. Roman Reigns appearing soon after winning Slammy this year for the best wrestler. So stuff like that. That's sort of making WWE really sort of down these days. And I'm coming around reviewing WWE in a time of, it's sort of down period. When, Daniel Bryan getting that big neck injury that's putting him out for so many months, and people are speculating that he won't even be coming back. I think he'll be coming back, but I think it'll be far into next year. Roman Reigns won't be back till next year, only be like Royal Rumble time. Hopefully he'll be back for Royal Rumble. He'll be one of my hopefuls, along with Seth Rollins, who's sort of the big man these days, with Dean Ambrose's feud. That brings me round to what he's doing. John Cena, he's going to be appearing on the pay-per-view as well. So that brings us. Anyway, sorry about that. I just had a cut. I know I said I was going to uncut these videos, but I thought that I might go crazy if I found out that it didn't work. I just want to save and make sure that everything was saved and that the voice was actually there. So I just checked over the previous cut I took, and that was all one cut there with 25 minutes. Pretty impressive for me. I never done it before. But anyway, back in, we're going to go on for another like 30, 25 minutes or 40 minutes. Talking about more stuff, guys. So once again, that was my sort of card. Let's just do a overview of that. So the New Day probably going to win against Goldust and Stardust. Luke Harper winning against Dolph Ziggler. That's my predictions. Big Show winning against Eric Rowan. The Miz and Damien Sandow beating the Usos to retain their championships. Ryback defeating Kane in the chairs match. AJ Lee defeating Nikki Bella and winning back her Divas Championship match. On that one, Nikki Bella versus AJ Lee, I'm not sure because there's backstage rumors that AJ Lee is leaving, so she probably won't keep win the Divas Championship. And I think Nikki Bella, I'm going to change my mind. Nikki Bella is going to defend her championship. I wanted AJ Lee to win, but I think Nikki Bella will win the match, actually. Also, Rusev wins against Jack Swagger. Dean Ambrose defeats Bray Wyatt in a table, ladders and chairs match. Did I say that? Yeah. And then John Cena is going to beat Seth Rollins in a tables match. So that's been it for the TLC match. Now we have to go over to a more interesting and controversial subject. This is CM Punk making his podcast on Colt Cabana Show, and a week later joining UFC and having an interview. Oh my god, I've got to discuss this in detail. Let's begin by going straight back to January time, just after Royal Rumble 2014. Just before, or just after, this is Monday Night Raw, and CM Punk walks away from Mr. McMahon. He just walks out of Raw and leaves. And since then, he has not featured on any show. He's completely quit on his wedding day. Apparently, he took this on his podcast. I've listened to all of it. I haven't seen it heard twice, but I have sort of got the basic outline. He talked to Colt Cabana about his feelings on quitting the WWE, and how he walked out, and we finally get to hear about him for once. If you don't already know, CM Punk is this wrestler from WWE, and he hasn't commented on anything since January. He hasn't talked about WWE or anything until now in November. I think, or December he made it. God. So it's been such a while, and I've still had this in the back of my mind, how CM Punk just walked out. And now we get to hear his thought process on how all the things that were being bugging him, featuring sort of like how his health deteriorated, and the WWE health officers or the doctors there just didn't give a crap. How Mr. McMahon was not booking him right, how he's gonna face Triple H. That was a plan for him to face Triple H at WrestleMania, and that was the podcast. So CM Punk deciding that he won't ever go back to WWE, and I'm not sure about that. I think he may return when the time is right. He's gonna come back in a few years or something. Maybe not next year, I don't think, but he'll make a return, guys. Don't worry. Anyway, he's in this sort of midlife crisis phase, and he's come to UFC. He's already wanted to do this for years and years and years, and he actually mentions how the WWE wouldn't let him wear UFC trousers. You know, this type that Brock Lesnar would get to wear. Just after him, CM Punk asked first to wear them and wasn't allowed to wear them, so that's really annoying on his behalf. He just sort of voices this sort of stuff, and he's not afraid to do it. He's the type of character that will not hold anything back. He's going to tell what's right and what's wrong. He might even be a bit of a dick about it, and say stuff that isn't true. He might say stuff that's really mean or false, but he's going to tell the truth about other people. You've got to see that he's not going to lie about other people. So there you go. That's CM Punk quitting and then talking about it on the Colt Cabana Show. Anyway, a week later passes. This is actually on Sunday last. I see a little inbox, and there's UFC CM Punk joining it and making an interview on the UFC fight 142 or something, 141, 142. CM Punk recently joined, and here the deal is public. I've seen a lot of videos on how people have thought of this. Once again, I'm just going to talk about the CM Punk first. My opinion on CM Punk, I think he's a really good wrestler and a really good character. How he acted on how he just left. What do I think of that? Let's see. I think that there's different ways you can take this. And CM Punk took this the wrong way, I think. I think there were better ways of taking this, and he took it out on the WWE. I think directly on Mr. McMahon. I think a lot of this problems is his character. But I agree that he should have left. Maybe not in these terms. Maybe he should have considered another way. Maybe not like leaving directly on Raw, or talking to Mr. McMahon about WrestleMania, or whatever. I'm sure he talks to Mr. McMahon all the time. Maybe he's cut off contact. And now let's go over to Mr. McMahon, basically making his podcast on Stone Cold Steve Austin on WWE Network exclusive. I haven't seen it, but I know that he sort of talked about, sort of commented, Stone Cold Steve Austin, for one, is this really good podcaster, and he asked Mr. McMahon the question, so what do you think of CM Punk and his podcast? He was on with Colt Cabana a few days ago, because he just released that podcast, and I'm sure Mr. McMahon is a bit angry at that he just posted this podcast directly before Mr. McMahon was on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast on the WWE Network. Anyway, Mr. McMahon says that to go about how CM Punk firstly comments on that his firing law sort of papers were delivered to him on his wedding day, and Mr. McMahon said this is purely coincidence that this happened, and CM Punk basically thinks that it was done on purpose, and he's really infuriated by this. But Mr. McMahon said it was purely coincidence, and me, I'm on the line there. I'm on the gate. I'm in between the two. I don't really have a choice on who I think is right, who I think is wrong. I think they're both of them are a little bit right and a little bit wrong, but you can't really choose who's right and wrong in the situation. I think I'm going to give it a bit of time before I think. I think we'll get new news updates in the future, and definitely see what happens with AJ Lee, because she is married to CM Punk, just recently married, and she might be leaving. So if she leaves, we might get some new news on what's happening with her, and we might even get a late interview. But I think that we're gonna have to wait until TLC to see if she wins the championship, and if she doesn't, there will be a good chance that she'll be leaving if she doesn't win the Steve's championship, because it could be her finding her quiet way out or something like that. But if she does win, I think she may stay. So that's sort of my judging point on whether AJ Lee will leave and whether CM Punk will get more news on CM Punk. So he joins UFC. My opinions on CM Punk joining UFC are as follows. Apparently he's going up against his own weight class. If you've seen this guy, he's really thin and scraggly, and he can wrestle, of course he can, but wrestling is such a different ballgame than UFC, and it's different than going from UFC to wrestling, because you can learn how to wrestle pretty well. Like, you can be a bad wrestler but get away with it in wrestling on WWE, because if you got a good character or a strong person, like Goldberg, he was a crappy wrestler but he got away with it on WWE and became multi-time champion. But if you if you're just being a wrestler all your life and you want to move over to UFC, well, then that's a problem, because firstly, you can't just make the move without being a trained fighter. Well, you can, but you're going to get your ass beaten, and you could end up not ever moving again. I don't know, but it's an actual sport where it's not trained, it's not practiced beforehand. There's no fixed winner like in wrestling. It's completely opposite to wrestling. So CM Punk is, even though he's been trained in MMA, he's come over here straight to UFC, sort of unplanned, unpracticed. He's going to have a fight every few months. Hopefully he'll stay on. I'm so excited to see him wrestle. To UFC to fight the MMA way. That rhymed. And he's going to basically says in his interview that he's either going to be beaten up by someone or he's going to beat someone up. And they're going to pick someone from his weight class, I guess, to fight him. We'll see how that works out. CM Punk, it's going to fight. It still makes me laugh. This little thin guy is going to be probably fighting welterweights. So not like heavyweights or anything, but not light heavyweights. He's going to be sort of in the middle. I think you should start by fighting light heavyweights. Come on, guy. CM Punk. You're not that good. He's going to be fighting welterweight. If you've seen these welterweights, they are amazing. I looked at this guy called the welterweight champion. Current guy is like Saint Pierre or something, and he is such a beast. He's won like 20 fights in the octagon, and he's bloodied up, but he still fights on for a good 20-minute matches. And it's not like WWE where you fight a 20-minute match, where you can take breaks or ask the other person to sort of calm down a bit, or hold a bit, like go into a hold and plan a bit ahead so you can sort of rest around. You can lie on the ground, I guess. It's non-stop action, sort of like TNA, total non-stop action. And I'm not going to talk about TNA, guys. I might mention that like my next podcast or something. But anyway, CM Punk here fighting his way into the octagon. It's going to be a totally different style and a totally different shock, and I'm pretty sure he's prepared for this. He knows that he's going to be shocked about what's happening, and he knows that this could go down the hole, or down like a lead balloon, this career path, but he's chosen it. He can do what he wants, and good on him, because he's only got one life, and he wants to do everything he possibly can. So, do UFC CM Punk, and if you enjoy it, or if you actually turn out to do well, win a fight, go and do another one. But remember, WWE is always waiting there. So, I think that's the way he's going to choose it. He's going to go to UFC, and maybe take a break after that, for a few years, even. That sounds crazy to think that he might take a few years off. He might take a year off, and then make a special return to WWE like Edge does. Like Edge, he had to leave from an injury. I can kind of compare him to Daniel Bryan, really. Edge and Daniel Bryan, these two guys who took off time, a few years off, went out into the woods, found themselves, had their own life, thought about themselves. WWE, which is totally owned by WWE, you feel like your life is wrestling, where it's totally opposite to not doing anything like that. And CM Punk is sort of wanting to occupy his time with something else, and good on him to get out of the wrestling world where everything is so extreme and you don't really understand how manic it is until you actually get into the business and are working for the WWE 24/7, 365 days a year. You get no rest. Understand this. You have to completely understand, even if it's a bad wrestler or something, or like, oh my god, this guy only competes once a month. Why? He has to train every single day, fight house shows all around the world, travels to every show. This man, like any wrestler they probably work their asses off every single day in the gym, training, talking to the managers, and practicing at the performance center, whatever they're doing. That's why NXT has to be so tough on the guys, because they have to move up to the main roster where they're going to get even extremer. So build him out there. He's doing a great job on the NXT Performance Center. So I think it's a great idea back in there in Full Sail University, Florida. So my basic moral of the story is CM Punk, go out and do what you want and get away from the WWE for as long as possible, because he needs the time away, and he's been on and off in the WWE for such a long time, in professional wrestling for nearly 15 years, whatever he's been at. He's a crazy amount of time. He's 34 years old now. He's been fighting since he's like 16 or something. Wrestling, sorry. So it's been his life since he's 16, and that's damn crazy. I've never heard of anything like that. Well, I probably have, but a lot of wrestlers who are interested, like Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, who've been wrestling for such a long time. Since they were kids, they were interested in the sport. But it takes a lot of dedication, and I praise him on what he's done in the WWE so far, being the longest running, like one of the longest reigning WWE champions of all time, and all the things he's done, his famous pipe bomb. And even if this is his last, I might as well do a memorial to this guy, because he's just my favourite wrestler. Well, one of my favourites of all time. Definitely like in my top 10 or something. or the guy CM Punk, Phil Brooks, well, especially in the ring, WWE. There you go. He going off to UFC. That's my comments on his sort of UFC and his departure from the WWE, and just Mr. McMahon and how he comments on that. So there you go, guys. That's been my UFC talk about with that whole business and how that worked out for CM Punk, and I hope that the fans have to sort of understand that him getting away from the WWE is the right decision in his behalf, and you don't own him. He can do what the heck he wants. So yeah, that's my TLC sort of stuff before that as well. What else do I time talk about? Sorry. Actually, I'm going to read the article here on CM Punk. So months before Phil Brooks, the man known to wrestling fans everywhere as Superstar CM Punk, announced he'd signed with Ultimate Fighting Championship, the former World Wrestling Entertainment's champion next move was a mystery. He was last seen performing for WWE on January 26th at the Royal Rumble and blah blah blah. He has no in-ring mixed martial arts experience. I thought he was an MMA fighter. Anyway, he will step into the octagon sometime next year. He'll likely spar as a middleweight or welterweight, I think. In the interim, he'll continue his training in jiu-jitsu. His mentor is martial arts icon Rene Gracie and other MMA techniques. He can find with new bride. He can enjoy Freetown with his new bride AJ Lee, who remains high-profile draw for the Divas division. I'll look at one of the questions and I'll just read it out. So, what convinced you UFC... This is in the interview, by the way, for UFC, with CM Punk. What convinced you UFC would be more positive for you than the WWE? I'm sure I did know. I'm not sure I did know. If I can maybe throw out an example of how things are different. The lack of communication from the WWE office was outstanding. They said they suspended me and never contacted me again. They were in my town, about an 8-mile drive from my house, multiple times, and didn't feel like it was necessary to come try and talk to me. So I assumed they didn't want to talk to me. Then you've got Dana and UFC CEO Lorenzo Ferrita wanting to talk to me, and they get on a jet and fly to Chicago to talk to me. So that pretty much told me exactly how Dana and Lorenzo do business. I'm sure that there are other people out there who have different situations with them, but they're playing straight with me. And being backstage at last Sunday's UFC 181 and introducing everybody to my wife, it was such a great experience, and I'm sure part of that is the name, value, and who I am. But everyone seems to be happy, which is different and odd for me. So that's sort of my look at an interview that was held after UFC 181. That was sort of my look at that. You can comment below what you think of CM Punk and his departure from the WWE and his new next venture to the UFC. That also brings me to the point that I watched a UFC fight one time on Monday, and it was really intense and awesome. And it's like out of 5 rounds or something, it was for the welterweight championship between Pierre and some other guy, and Pierre defended it, and he was just amazing. And that's the only UFC fighter I know, so I have no really experience. If you guys do, please don't blame me if I don't know anything about it. Remember, I focus on the wrestling world and not that, so that's sort of what I like to look at, and completely mistaken for what I said. Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, let's talk about our evolution that's coming up for NXT. Sorry, what am I doing? NXT. If you don't know, I do my reviews on NXT every Friday, and our evolution will be coming up soon. So the matches are already in the air, but I actually think, I'll do my predictions right now, and then I'll just do my review on our evolution tomorrow night. It's actually coming up tonight, but I'm gonna do it tomorrow, because I don't watch it on the day it's done. Is it like 2 hours long or something? 3 hours? I'm actually going to review up on Saturday because it's that long. But anyway, NXT TakeOver or Revolution is live Thursday night on the network. Who will achieve victory at the live NXT special event? Will Charlotte retain her NXT Women's Championship against former BFF Sasha Banks? Can Sami Zayn finally win the big one and take the NXT title from Adrian Neville? How will be debuting Kevin Owens factor in the show? I think I already predicted this on my previous NXT review about my predictions, so I don't think I'll go over that again, but there you go. Kevin Owens is going to be making his debut. I'll talk about that for a minute or two. Kevin Owens is this guy. He's known as Kevin Steen in the wrestling world. He wrestled for ROH, and he talked about in one of his promos, which I thought was really good, about how he's rivaled and wrestled with all these guys from the WWE, the likes of Sami Zayn, the likes of Adrian Neville, and the likes of others. And these guys have all moved up. He's also wrestled with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, I think. All these indie guys from ROH, and he is time to make it. He doesn't really care about... He's stopped to care about, okay, all these guys that I liked moved up, but now it's my turn. Kevin Owens making his impact in the wrestling world. I know nothing else about him except the fact that he's going to be here in NXT at our Revolution tonight, which I'm making my comment on. Probably talk about it for a while, actually, on Saturday or Friday, whenever I get that review up. What else was I going to talk about? Kevin Owens, this guy, known as Kevin Steen. I think that's his real name. Wait. Check an article out here about Kevin Owens will be his debut will be historic. What else does he have to say for himself? Well, I think he just says his debut will be historic, and I'm so excited for that, really. You cannot be excited. You don't know who this guy is. I mean, let's look at how Finn Balor making his debut like a month ago. No one really knew who he was. Well, actually, people did know who he was because the way he went to the ring, and he got such a big pop. So people in NXT do know about these guys, and I think they're a bit more aware than the people in the WWE, like Raw and SmackDown. That's why I like the NXT crowds. They're very good. It's just a little summary on him. His synopsis. Kevin Steen, born May 7th, 1994, is a Canadian professional wrestler, currently signed to WWE and working in developmental territory NXT under the ring name Kevin Owens. He is best known for his work in Ring of Honor, where he is a former ROH World Champion and ROH World Tag Team Champion. He has also wrestled for various promotions on the independent circuit, most notably Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, or PWG, where he is a former three-time holder of both the PWG World Championships and PWG World Tag Team Championships. Kevin Owens making his debut in May the 7th, 2000. So he's been around for 14 years in the wrestling world, and I feel so happy that he's made his way up to the main roster. And yeah, completely good on him that he's made it here. And Kevin Owens, yeah, I'm excited to see who he faces and what happens. Is he going to make some sort of rumble? Is he going to interrupt someone's matches? I have no idea, but anyway, that's him. Sorry, that's him. Here he is in the wrestling world. Yeah, that's his debut. Like that. I'm just really. And now the segment of the show where I'm gonna run through some weird news from the world. I'm gonna go through 3 stories today, I think. First one being that an Ebola vaccine. Sorry, where is it? Where did it go? Sorry, Ebola vaccine trial suspended after side effects. Swiss researchers have suspended the testing of one of the leading Ebola vaccine candidates after some volunteers reported unexpected side effects. In a statement issued today, the Hospitax University of Geneva said the trial had been suspended as a precautionary measure. The study involved 59 people begun in November. Researchers reported 4 cases of mild joint pain in the hands and feet in people who got the shot 10 or 15 days ago. Earlier, officials will stop using the vaccine next week to get more data and liaise with the others who are testing the vaccine in the US, Canada, Germany and Gabon. The vaccine was developed by the Canadian government and is licensed to US companies Newlink and Merck. The trial is scheduled to resume in January in Geneva. So there you go. They've already started working on these Ebola vaccines, and I think that there's a positive step forward for this whole news stories. So Ebola vaccine. Let's see how that goes for them. And of course, let's try stop this from spreading across Europe or everywhere. And let's try to, wherever it is right now, we want to try and get it in quarantine and try to get rid of it. And, cure the people who have it, of course, now. And make sure we get Africa covered. Definitely make sure that we don't get loads of people going from Africa to different countries, because we don't want it happening from Sierra Leone, where that's what happened in the first place, and that's how it caused. You don't want any more of that to be caused, where it can double and triple, and it's such a virus that can be spread so easily. Well, it's not too easily. It's not really easy. Anyway, China to build world's first deep sea mining vessel. A Chinese shipyard has inked a deal with the Singapore firm to build the world's first deep sea mining vessel, which can serve as a platform to seabed mining up to 2,500 meters. Wu Ping Shang from Fujian Maybe Shipbuilding Co. Limited, which is based in East China's Fujian province, today said that the contract had been signed with a Singapore company, but declined to disclose the name of the contractor, state-run Jiho news agency reported. Wu said the vessel, due to be delivered in 2017, will be 227 meters long by 40 meters wide, with living quarters of up to 180 people and a maximum cargo load of 45,000 tons. This is really interesting. A deep sea mining vessel. The vessel, with 30 megawatts of power, can serve as a platform for seabed mining as deep as 2,500 meters, and will have a helipad. Founded in 1886, the predecessors of Meiwi Shipbuilding was Fuzhou Arsenal, China's earliest machinery shipbuilding company. It has now become a shareholding firm able to develop, build, and repair vessels. In another story, Sony CEO ordered the interview toned down after North Korea denounced it with leaked emails. Sony Corporation ordered the film The Interview to be toned down after Pyongyang denounced it for depicting the assassination of North Korea's leader. If you haven't already seen this, was starring Seth Rogen and Philip DeFranco. You can see it. I'm pretty sure you can see a trailer for it online. It's called The Interview on YouTube, and it is a quite comedy one. And according to emails apparently stolen from Sony's Hollywood studio, the comedy slated for US release on December 25th is about journalists played by Seth Rogen and James Franco, who were hired by the CIA to kill North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who we know is the actual North Korea leader in real life. According to emails that spanned from August through October and were obtained by Reuters, Harry asked Amy Pascal, co-chairman of Sony Pictures Entertainment, to change a key shot in the film. It depicts Kim struck by a tank shell, causing his head to explode. Pascal noted to Harry that she had encountered resistance from the film's creators, including Rogen, who wrote and co-directed it. Harai's interest in the film showed the company's leadership was worried about Pyongyang's objections, even before a devastating cyber attack on Sony's Hollywood social network last month that crippled most of it for more than a week. They declined to comment. Rogen's representatives, and that's sort of what's commented during this whole video. Far from here. Anyway, so that's sort of my opinion on this one. This one starring Seth Rogen and James Franco. Let's hope they get this sorted out, because we don't want this to become a big event where Pyongyang actually take action in North Korea. But anyway, hopefully they'll change the scene. Maybe. I'm not sure if they're going to do it, but let's hope they do. Anyway, let's talk about one more news story that I've got loaded up here, Where was it suggested for me? Sorry, this is so unprofessional. I think that's enough for today, guys. I think we should talk about some more stuff tomorrow. Haven't really prepared for this one too well, guys, but hopefully you enjoyed that. There was like in 3 cuts I took, or 2 cuts, I think. Anyway, this has been me, TVHUBofficial1, and if you've enjoyed this one, I think you should share it with your friends. Comment below on all your opinions on the news story featured in today's podcast. Podcasts will be coming up hopefully every week, every 2 weeks, or whenever they can. They probably won't be tied down to a regular schedule, but whenever I'm feeling like doing one, I will. And hopefully we'll keep them going as regular series like all my other series. My new announcement video will be coming up soon, as long with Malcolm in the Middle videos and all the other reviews coming soon. TV shows and other movie reviews. I'm probably making a type of channel for my movie reviews, maybe. I think I might post them all on the same channel for now, until the channel goes big enough and maybe I get like 200 videos or something like that, or something crazy like that, or 5,000 views. I already have like 40 views. Sorry, I have 400 views, I think, on all my videos. I'll check that now. But anyway, guys, it's been TVHUB1. Be sure to like this video, subscribe on below. Most importantly, if you really enjoyed this content, you can favorite, like, add to your favorites. I don't know what you do, guys, but make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below on your opinions on all the stories, as I just said earlier on. This has been TVHUBofficial1, and good night.